Hey everyone, happy Thursday. Thank you so much for joining me here tonight. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery kits. And I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and it's a time where we can relax and craft together for about an hour here in the evening. And we work on projects from beginning to end so you can watch the whole process and be part of the process the entire way. Ask questions and stitch along with me. So you guys, we are working on the Splendid Sampler to quilt along. Here is the book for it. The authors, Jane Davidson and Pat Sloan, have put together a quilt along for this. And they release new blocks every Thursday. So the new blocks are from the book, but the whole community works on these blocks at the same time. So I'm going to show you the new blocks for today. It is New Block Thursday, but we are going to continue on the block we've been working on. I just couldn't clear it away just yet. So we're working on the grandfather clock right there. And last night we finished all the paper pieces, all the paper piece sections for it. So again, here's like my section A. That's my favorite one. It's so intricate, this section A piece. But we finished all the pieces yesterday, and there's one last step for foundation paper piecing, and it's sewing together the sections. And there's some little details that we need to know about that for sewing things together. So I wanted to make sure that we worked on that tonight. And it's just sad having all these finished pieces sitting here without sewing them together. So we will look at the new blocks, but I'm not going to start one of the blocks today. We're going to keep working on this grandfather clock. So thanks again, everyone, for joining me here. I'm going to flip you around and we'll get going tonight. All right, there it is. So here are all of the sections all laid out here. So it doesn't quite look like a clock just yet, I suppose, but you can start to get a sense. Like here's that round face. The actual face of the clock will be appliqued on. So we still have this applique piece here to do. It's actually all of these pieces. So there's like a border, and then this clock face goes on it with some embroidery. There's a little dot that goes right at the pivot point of the arms, and then we still have the pendulum too. So a whole pile of circles and embroidery need to happen yet. But this is kind of the base of it all here. So, all right, you guys, let's take a look though really quick on the new blocks for today, and they're awfully cute again. I mean, they're all cute, but let's, I got them bookmarked here. Okay, the first one is A Fresh Start by Kat Wilson Tucker. So this looks like a nice pieced block. It's awfully sweet, and the two colorways. I'm guessing that mine will look a little closer to this. This one's pretty high contrast. With like lots of darks and lots of lights, and my fabrics are all pretty neutral, so I think this one kind of blends together a little bit more. I think mine will probably look a little bit more like that, but yeah, it looks like we end up with a little 9 patch that we sew together maybe. Oh, actually not. Look here, we have kind of just like a top and bottom. Oh, it's interesting. So this will be, it's a little different than I expected, which is always fun. I love when these throw me for a loop. These blocks. So we'll get on this at some point. All right, so here we are. The next one is Lauren's Flower Basket by Annette Plog. This looks like one of those really pretty traditional blocks, and I love half square triangles, so this is adorable. This one will be a super fun one. We're gonna have to do some pieced blocks again soon here. We've been doing this foundation paper piecing for a long time now. It'd be fun to do a nice traditional one. Okay, Blue Ribbon. So this one is the Dresden Plate one I think you guys are talking about right now. So we did do a Dresden Plate, and what we kind of mean by that is this circle with these pointed little bits that all magically fit together in this circular thing. So all of these angles just happen to be correct, you know what I mean? So that is the Dresden Plate. So we did do one of these in the last Splendid Sampler, the Splendid Sampler 1, and it's kind of a neat technique. So you're actually, the template for the Dresden is here, but you do a neat little like sew and fold situation to get the pointiness out of it. So if you just follow the directions, you should be good to go. And then it looks like the whole thing is probably appliqued together and appliqued to the back here. But to make that Dresden plate shape, that's kind of unique, I think, with that little fold. So that'll be fun. They're all going to be fun. And, oh, Pack Your Bags. So this is the Pack Your Bags by Jody Carlton. This is the last one. So just another sweet, simple piece to block with some embroidery on there. I just think it's adorable. Look at that cute. It's like a tag for like a suitcase. Cute, cute. You could write whatever you wanted in there too, I think, which would be just adorable. But I like the quilt, and I like how she wrote it there as well. So that is the last one. I have my little list going here. So I've marked the ones that have been released. Not all of them have been released to the group yet. I mean, you can obviously see them in the book, but you know, not all of them are ones that as a group we're all sewing together yet. So anyway, the ones that I've highlighted here I have finished. I actually have finished a few more, but I haven't marked them down yet. But soon we'll have this grandfather clock one done, I hope. So all right, you guys, let's continue on the grandfather clock one right here. Again, here's that other colorway. So what we're going to start tonight is the actual sewing together of our sections. So there is a little guide here that tells us which way to press. So it looks like, you know, we're going to sew the A to the B and C sections together. We'll start there, and then we got these other, you know, these three, the I, H, and the J, look like they need to be sewn together before we can do much more. And we'll follow, it looks like they're both pressed outward. So the A, B, C section and the H, I, J section, they're pressed outward. So that's what we're gonna start with tonight here, you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna just scooch out all the pieces that we don't need to worry about quite yet. So, oh, it looks like, first of all, we need to sew these two pieces before we can sew these on. So let's just take a look at that page again. Oh yeah, so we gotta sew the G, this to here, and we press downward. So, well, I think we'll sew these together first. So this onto the A section, and then this one, and then we'll go down to here, sew these together, and then sew these, and we'll start there. Okay, so what we need to look at here, if we're going to sew these two pieces together, we need to match up a few things on the edge here. So for sure, we need to match up these 2 points here. And then these 2 points here also meet. But there's one other point that meets here, and we can see it by looking at the image. But this line, this edge here, connects with this edge here. So somewhere along the line, it goes like that, right? So we have like this continuation of line here. So what we need to make sure is that we're also marking this point, like where our sew line collides with our outer edge here. That point needs to connect with the same point here. So those are the three things we're looking for here. So we're going to put right sides together, and how I like doing this is grabbing a pin, so as straight of a pin as you can, and I'm going to first go through one side here. So I'm going to poke my pin right in that point where it crosses the line there. All right, so right there, that's our first guide point. I'm going straight through. Don't like angle or anything at all tonight, or don't angle at all, because then, you know, it won't be a straight. We need to go like straight through, and I'll show you why in a sec here. So, all right, right sides together. So now what we need to do is come up on this side with the pin. So I'm just going to kind of guess what I'm trying to hit. Oh, see, I missed right there. What I'm trying to hit is where it goes into that point. Ooh, close. One more try. All right, there we are. So right through that point there. Okay, right now I'm going through both areas, and here's what I mean by going straight through. The pin should be straight on both sides there. If you angle the pin at all, then you're actually shifting one side up or down. I mean, you can actually see it kind of move up or down. So to make sure that we're sewing those correct, we need to make sure our pin is super duper straight. And then what I'm going to do there is I'm going to just throw a wonder clip through there. So right sides together, get that wonder clip on. There, that will really hold it in place. And just to check, I'm going to go through the corners as well. I'm not as worried about the corners. Oh, see, that's good. Looking good there. That's through both points. I really want this angle to connect, so I am working on that. All right, that looks good as well. So this is ready to sew. Let's give it a try, you guys. So I'm gonna sew right on that line, you know, just how we sewed all the other parts of this, right on that line with oops, lost my scissors here, with that little back tack as well. All right, hopefully it ends up lining up. We'll see. Oop, I gotta move this out of the way. So straight. Okay, let's see how we did. Oop. There we are. All right, let's peek. How did we do? Oh my gosh, did I? Yeah, I sewed this onto the right side, didn't I? I don't think I even checked. All right, look, there's our connection, and you can't even tell. It goes right into the next piece. That looks fabulous. Okay, that's perfect. All right, so that is, that's the first side there, but that's the trick right here. So whenever you're connecting two sections, you gotta look for the other little bits, you know, like this point right there. What are the points that need to match up? So whenever you're sewing pieces together, what needs to match up? And that's where you want to throw the pin. And you might need to do more than one if need be. But for these small pieces, like right there, that's all we need. So I'm going to sew the other one on as well, and then we will press it. And the pressing directions, we're pressing both sides out. And I might actually even remove the paper here before pressing. We'll see how that goes. Okay, next up, this side. So we're going to do the same process. Okay, so right sides together. And we're going to aim for that point again. So let's get the pin through there. All right, I want it to come up right through that fold though. Huh, that's looking okay. All right, right sides together. Let's try and get it. I'm just guessing, like, what about 1/4 of an inch? Nope, I'm not quite all the way there. So let's scooch in a little bit further. Ugh, a little bit more. Try to get this guy out of the way while I find the next spot. Okay, there you are. So now that I have them through both points there, now I'm going to line it up all nice. So I'm going to just put right sides together, put my edge together, and then I'm going to work on this pin just to make sure it's straight. That's like the final nudging of it all. All right, and I think we're looking pretty good there. So let's find our clip again. Ah. There we are. And just for good measure, let's do a test through the points. Yeah, Barbara, you're glad that there's simpler blocks so you can save the harder blocks. Yeah, this one's a little off, but I think my my pin's a little just crooked. Let's try the bottom one. Yeah, we could maybe nudge over, it looks like, a little bit. There, I just kind of shimmied it a little bit. Let's go through this centerpiece again. I like, oh, there we go. So we're fine still. Let's give it a go. I like just going with what the mood dictates, kind of. So like if I am just not feeling a difficult block, like it's just not that day for me, I just won't do it. I will take on a simpler one, a simpler project, a simpler block. I'm gonna move this already. But if I'm feeling okay, then I will work on that other block, a harder block. But if I get tired of that one, then I'll go to a simpler block. But I always love having something simple ready to go. Oh, Barbara, you're using paper made for paper piecing, and it seems to come out without affecting the stitches. Oh, that's good. I've heard of that paper before, but I've not used it myself here. All right, let's do a test. How did we do? Ooh, we're a tish off, maybe, but nothing too horrible there. So I'm not super worried about that. I think once it's pressed and quilted, we're not going to notice. And from far away, you don't notice at all. But look, it's turning into something. I love it. We're getting that top arch of our grandfather clock here. So I think I'll just press it for now. I'm not going to worry about taking any papers out right now. So I'm going to just press it outward. We want these two seam allowances to be outward. So we're gonna do that. So over to the messy ironing spot again. I need to get used to setting my stuff in a different spot, I think. All right, there we are. Let's give this a press. So again, I'm just gonna press outward. Oh, you're saving Estelle for later. Yep, there are some that are definitely more difficult, but they're rewarding. Like when I feel up to it, then I give myself the challenge. Like this grandfather clock, I mean, there's a lot going on here, right? It's not exactly difficult. I mean, none of these are technically so difficult. It's just a matter of going step by step, you know? And this one is time consuming for sure. All right, check it out. So that's it, you guys. We're gonna keep going basically the same process here. But that is all there is to the sewing the sections together. It's really, if you got a pin, just that pin trick will do the job for matching up the points that need to be matched. So, I mean, this one was awesome. Zoop, perfect. This one, again, less than a millimeter off. I am not worried about that at all. All right, this guy is up next. We are sewing, what is this now? G to H. So there's well, the only real points we need to match up here are, well, actually kind of 3 points. So the corners, always the corners, And really this point right here, where everything comes to the seam allowance, this angle comes to the seam allowance, I want to make sure that seam allowance point matches up with this seam allowance. So there isn't actually like this point here and this point here don't match up to the middle there, but the act of it laying on the seam allowance, that's what's trying to match up. So there are 3 points here that I want to try and match. Okay, so right sides together. Let's start there. And I always kind of line up the edges and start with the difficult point. So let's just see what happens if we pin straight through right away, if we hit our mark. All right, so we're on the edge there, but I suspect that we're supposed to kind of meet in the middle there. I'm not quite in the middle, so I'm gonna just shimmy over a bit, see what that gets us. All right, there, now I'm on the line in the middle. Well, I may be a little too far over now. I'm being picky here. Oh, it's just going back in that same hole. Let's see how we line up. Line up our edges. Ooh, there's a lot of bulk here, so this might be a little tricky to sew through. I'm a little angled here, so I think I need to err on the side of going a little bit left here, even though it doesn't look exactly perfect in the middle, as long as we're still on this line here. All right, I think we're gonna just kind of live with it right there. Let's put a clip here and then see how our other sides, our other points match up. Oh, it's so bulky. So that's the thing. There is going to be a ton of bulk with some of these sections. That's a little off. I want to see the other side. I might not be pinning quite straight. Since there's nothing really to match up at these corner points, like there's no continuation of line things that need to happen, I think I'm gonna just sew. As long as this point here matches up with our seam allowance, I think we'll be good here. We're gonna just go for it with this one. Oh, try removing some of the paper. I'm a little nervous about removing some of the paper quite yet, just because we do need some of these markings to sew our pieces together, so I want to kind of keep them. Oop, my pedal's caught. Hold on, here we go. All right, I'm going slowly along that line. All right, let's remove this. Actually, do I have my stiletto anywhere? It doesn't look like that. All right. All right, here's where I'm going through that middle point. Okay. That's that. Let's see how we did. Trim our edges. Okay, let's peek. Oh, pretty good. So what we wanted here was that point to hit the point of the seam allowance, and we look pretty good there, and our edges match up just fine. So there we go. That is our little cat shape. It's cute. So this is where the pendulum is going to hang. So all right, let's just double check. I suspect just of how this is wanting to go, I suspect that we press it down. Your fabric will almost sometimes tell you sometimes what direction it wants to be pressed, but look at all the bulk of fabric hiding in there. And that's because we had all of these points kind of come to the center, so there's a lot of seams hanging out in there. It's crazy, there's a lot. All right, but let's just double check the instructions. All right. I'm just double checking what direction we press. Yep, there's the arrow pressing downward. So let's do that. It's coming together. And again, it just wants to go down. All right, so let's just angle this. Oh gosh, we almost have to hammer it down a little. I'm really kind of pushing to get this guy flat. Okay, there we are. Coming together. I like it. So that was G and H there. So, all right, what's up next? We're just cruising along here. Okay, the sides now. So in theory, this should be the exact same size as this. And we're looking pretty close. This is a little smaller, but I think it's just because we have that huge fold, the huge fold right here of our pieces coming together. Yeah, so all I want to double check here, I want to make sure that it goes this way and not this way. I want to make sure that I haven't screwed up the direction that those go in. I know, okay, so they angle, and then they look like they might meet right there too. Maybe we can see a little bit better over here. Wait, those angles go up. Oh yeah, so here you can kind of see right there. So the angles go up. All right, that's what I need to know. And yep, all right, so we're in the right spot. These angle upward. And it almost looked like this line is supposed to kind of meet with this line. It didn't look like it had to, but it kind of looked like that. Patricia, you removed paper before sewing together and iron seams open. Reduce the bulk. Okay. Yeah, I'm wondering if I should do that to press these open. I don't know. I think you're probably right. I think that's probably a good idea. I think for now, I'm just going to keep going with what the directions say and see how that turns out for me. But yeah, I think in general, like if this is my own thing, I think you're right. I think I would probably press these open, reduce the bulk a little bit, and getting rid of these papers on the edge is probably a good idea too. But we're just going to keep going for now and see what happens. So, all right, this goes on this side. So like I said, it kind of looked in the design that this point is supposed to meet up with this point. So let's just see if that's kind of the case. So I'm laying these edges together. Luckily, a lot of these pieces line up just perfectly. Like it's just rectangles that line up. That's not always the case with paper piecing. A lot of times when you're sewing sections together, they're really oddball shapes. So you have to rely on, these points. A little further down, it looks like, well, I'm through this first one, so let's just kind of aim this one better. Okay, there we go. That's through that point. So yeah, I suspect that these are supposed to match up. So let's get this pin kind of straight. Match up our edges first. Yep, I think we're looking good. Let's get the pin in there. Or the clip. You know what, we should just do the other one right away too. Let me grab another clip. There must be one. I must have a clip hanging out. Yeah, here we go. Here's another one. They just kind of are randomly all over my messy table. All right, so this one, let's do on this side. All right, so I'm gonna start with going right into that point here. Yep, that looks good. Oh yeah, Joe, I think for me, this has been one of the most time-consuming ones. Oh, dang, look I got that right the first try. That's right through there. Ha-ha. I guess I know what a 1/4 inch looks like. Quilters become very aware of what a 1/4 inch looks and feels like after a while compared to, I think, the normal population. All right, pin straight. Let's give it a clip. Edges look good enough. I think I'm ready to sew both of those. Oh, Barbara, my 80%, if someone mentioned the 80%, that's kind of my mantra a little bit. So what I say sometimes is make it 80% good. So what that means is like instead of trying to be totally perfect and 100% good, you know, which would be perfect, I just shoot for 80% whenever I'm working on something. And that helps me in a few ways. It makes the whole project a whole lot less scary because I just need it to be 80% good. I don't need it to be perfect. Not at all. It just needs to be 80% good. So it helps me get started on projects because I know that, you know, they don't have to be the best thing ever, just 80%. So that takes away some of the fear. And when I really get stuck on something, and I'm finding myself like second guessing myself or something like that, if I catch myself and I'm like, wait, I just need it to be 80% good, then it makes me able to make faster decisions and just be okay with little mistakes and stuff a little bit better. So it just gets me through sometimes, thinking just make it 80% good. It's definitely, I think about it daily. It's nice sewing two pieces at once. Saving a little time. All right, let's see how we did. Ah, come on. Oh yeah, 1/4 inch with for clothing. Yeah, it's usually way more than a 1/4 inch seam allowance that you're working with. So when you used to sew clothes, it was 5/8 inch, and you got good at that, Nolene. Yeah, I bet. Okay, yeah, see, so that point is meeting right there. I mean, it doesn't look like the end of the world if your point doesn't meet right there, but we got that one. Awesome. What about this side? Oh, dang, that looks pretty dang sweet, too. All right, we did it, you guys. So these both get pressed with the seam allowance outward, which, again, it just feels like it naturally wants to go that way. I suspect it's because we have a lot of seams up here pushing the papers outward. So we're gonna deal with the bulk. We're gonna just leave it, and I'm gonna press these outward. It's coming along, coming along. I think we might get real close to finishing this up today. This sewing the sections together at least. A lot more to do with all the applique and the circles and the stitching, embroidery, and you know, even taking the papers off the back of this takes a little while. We'll take the paper off before we do the applique. Before we do any of the circle things, we'll take all this paper off. We're going to treat the paper piecing as its own kind of project here. Okay, cute. Look how intricate that is, right? I mean, that's a lot going on. You would never be able to piece that's, you know, without all these templates on the back. Yeah, someone probably could. Just cutting perfect triangles and sewing perfect triangles together. I don't know. All right, well, we sewed that. That's all the farther I looked so far. So, okay, what's next? Okay, it looks like we sewed that F section. That's this right here. It looks like we sewed that to here next. It's coming together. Okay, and so we sew those, and then we sew the two sides on. Yep, and then we sew the last chunk. Okay, I got it. And these, okay, so we press upward and then inward. Upward and inward, upward and inward. Okay, that's all I gotta remember. Upward and inward. Okay, let's sew this first. So we do have some things, you know, with this blank piece right here, you'd think that you wouldn't have to put anything together, like we wouldn't have to match any points, but we do. So it's the same thing as when we met in the middle here, that it had to hit the seam allowance. This point and this point look like they need to be right on the seam allowance. So we are going to do our pin test here yet, just to make sure that it matches up with this seam allowance, because we don't want to accidentally clip those points at all. So I'm going to, I think, yeah, we'll go this way. So I'm going to put this at the top. I'm going to sew with this side up. We're doing pretty good. It's almost the same length there. That means we're not losing much in our seam allowance at all, which is great. And we shouldn't. We're sewing with paper piecing. You need to sew right on the line, and so that should be helpful. Okay, let's see if I can throw a pin in here and have it be right. So you can see there's this little jog up here. So this might not be totally straight. We might have to rejigger that a little bit. Oh gosh, yeah, look how far off that is. But that's where that point is, isn't it? I might nudge this up a hair. There, I'm going to make sure that this edge here is matched. And if we trim a little off of there, oh well. That seems less important than this point. Okay, much better. So I'm going to keep it right there, I think, actually. Let's get a clip there. So that's one good side. All right, now let's do this other one. See if that's still matched up. Or close. Yeah, we're close enough, I think. We're close to hitting that seam. So as long as I have this one on top and I'm hitting the points on this top piece, I think we'll be okay. So let's get another clip. I think the clips are just way easier than these pins. I'm gonna go, yeah, we'll go a little lower just so I have room for my sewing machine foot. Okay, let's sew along that line. See how we do. All right. Got right sides together. We should all be clipped well. Oh, you guys, so just so you know, I am not going to be here tomorrow night. So tomorrow, Friday night, I'm going to be visiting my parents in Wisconsin. They just got a ton of snow, and we haven't seen them in a little while, so we are going to go drive down there and try snowshoeing for the first time. So I'm pretty stoked. I'll have to let you guys know how it goes, but I won't be in it on Friday, tomorrow, or Monday actually. So just giving you guys a heads up. I'll try and post in the Penguin and Fish Crafters group or share a picture of us snowshoeing or something. But yeah, so I will not be here Friday and probably not Monday either, because I think we'll just be getting back. All right, let's flip this up and see. Okay, there we are. I think we got our points there. Once we press it, yeah, there's that point hidden in there. Oh, Gretchen, you love snowshoeing? Oh, I picked a cold weekend to snowshoe. Yeah, Joe, it might be a situation where we got snowshoes for Christmas. So I've never snowshoed before. So it'll be new to me. But yeah, it might be a situation where we go outside for a second, snowshoe for 5 minutes, and come back in and then have hot chocolate. That's kind of my plan. Oh, yeah, my mom's quilt. Yeah, so my mom is way farther on the Splendid Sampler, too, than I am. So I will have to I'll do a little, maybe I'll do it in the Facebook, in the group. So in the Penguin and Fish Crafters group. So make sure, do a search on Facebook for Penguin and Fish Crafters. So right now we're on the Penguin and Fish page, but there is the Penguin and Fish Crafters group. Make sure to click join for there, and I'll let you in, and I'll post a little video of how far my mom is on this project. But yeah, she was cranking out blocks left and right last weekend. We FaceTimed with her, and she had the grandfather clock done. She had all these blocks like totally finished, and I was impressed for sure. All right, but yeah, I'll do a little thing in there. So That'll be in the Penguin and Fish Crafters group, so make sure to head over there. All right, these guys are up next. Ooh, and we're still matching up. Like, this height is the same. That's a good sign. I know the brown part goes on the inside, so I'm doing that. Oh my gosh, this is totally coming together. Look, yay, and this will go here. We're starting to see that kind of round shape. Oh, I got a peek. Oh, which way does this go? Probably like this, right? Cute, it's looking cute. All right, let's match this up. So this has nothing at all that needs to match. No special points or anything. So this is awesome. So all I have to do is flip this on. You know, make sure the edges match and just sew. The only thing that has to match up are these points here, but I'm just, you know, this whole edge matches. So I'm gonna just put that there. Let's throw a clip in just to keep it in place for a little. There we go, perfect. I'm gonna just sew that right on. And you know what, I'm gonna put this side on right away too. Get on there. Yeah, my mom's doing her Splendid Sampler 2 quilt with all black and white fabrics. And then, actually, I think she's using all of my fabric. So when I was designing quilt fabric, I had a collection that had a lot of black and white. So I think she pulled a bunch of that. And every once in a while, she's putting, I think, a little green or blue in, because there's a little pop of that in the black and whites. So, but it's a mostly black and white quilt. All right, this looks just a little crooked, doesn't it? Where's it going to match up our edges? All right, let's give it a try. Okay, and these ones I think we pressed inward, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves here. Okay. I think we're all pretty near lined up. Sewing right on that line still. Gosh, I feel like I'm moving around everywhere. But I think we'll be okay. Ugh. Scissors stuck on my hand. All right, let's peek. I know we didn't do the other side yet, but coming together, coming together. All right, let's do this. Yeah, I thought this looked weird. I don't have any thread in here. What the heck? Did I run out of bobbin? No, weird. What happened? All right, hold on here, you guys. I lost my thread here somehow. Thought it was looking crazy. Huh. Don't know what happened, but it was not my bobbin. Although immediately before I started sewing, I had like this vision of my bobbin being empty. So hopefully that's not the case. All right, let's give this another try. Weird, yeah, I just got like 2 stitches in here at the beginning. My spidey senses were going off. Okay. Now we're good. All right, let's press this. So I think we press towards the inside. Yeah, we must, because I think we're going to. So it doesn't want to go on the inside. It wants to go on the outside here, but I think we're pressing towards the inside because I suspect that it matches up with, yeah. So I think they're supposed to match up with these points, and then we can nest our seams together where we bump our seams together. So all right, we are going to press towards the inside. That's going to be a little goofy trick here, but let's give it a try. Because it definitely wants to go outward. We'll just smush it. Oh man, you guys, we're running out of time here, but we're so close. I think we'll just stay till we're done with this feller. We just have that top and bottom to go. I just want to get this really flat. Ooh, hot, hot, hot. Yeah, I mean, you know what? I suppose at this point we don't really, Glennis, I suppose we don't really need to keep the paper in because we just have these two bits. And you know what? That might be a good point. I think that's a great point, actually. I think maybe let's, before sewing these pieces together, maybe we should take out the paper. So I don't think this has to match up with anything. Let's just double check. Maybe I sew this bottom piece on quick. Oh, this does. So this matches up. So I'm going to sew that on quick. Yeah, I'm going to sew that on quick because I do want those points to match. The only points that have to match on the top are where those two seams meet, and that might actually be easier taking the paper out first, but I don't know. We'll see. We've gone this far. Let's just see. I'm going to sew the bottom piece on for sure right now. I like keeping the papers in because then I still have these visual like points. I mean, I suppose I could just look at the seam, but after you take the paper out, then things start to move around a little bit, and I think I want them in still to sew this. So all right, let's flip this around. So now this point here needs to match up with this seam here. Yeah, I mean, it's totally bulky right now, but it will not, once we take the papers out, it will like debulk itself. So I'm not so worried about it being too bulky right now. All right, so this point here needs to match up somewhere along this edge. So I'm going to just guess on my 1/4 inch. Oh, I can actually see through it on the white. So good. I'm going to just go right on it right away. There we go. Perfect. All right, let's match up the edge. Straighten out our pin. There. Those points should totally be perfect right now. So let's put a clip. There we are. And let's make sure to do this other side as well. So through that point right there. And then I can see, I don't know if you guys can see, but there's that line through the white. So I can see right away where I need to match it up. About like that. Yep. Straighten that out. Okay, let's get a clip there. Where'd you go, clip? All right, get a new clip, I guess. There we are. Okay, and gosh, there's a lot going on here in the middle, so hopefully this meets up. I'm gonna, I think, put another clip right in the middle there to deal with some of this bulk. right, let's hope this works. It's a little bulky underneath. Yeah, maybe it'd be better to take the paper out at this point, just because it is bulky. But I just want to sew it all together. We're gonna give it a try. All right. Ooh, there. All right. Sewing all over the place. All right, let's make sure that my seam allowance is still going in. All right, let's see how we did. Gotta trim first. All right. Oh gosh, I can hardly even fold this. Let's press it down. Oh, there we are. That's looking okay. Got a little triangle bit up there, but I think that looks pretty dang good. This side too, not too shabby. Okay, I'm all right with that. I think let's try sewing. Well, nah, let's give this a press. So first of all, let's double check what direction they wanted us to press in. Press inward. So we're pressing inward for these two last pieces. So all right, let's. Yeah. Okay. Oh no, okay, upwards. Wow, really? Huh. It's hard work pressing this upwards. Well, let's give it a try. Kind of wonder why that is. Get in there, dude. Squish. So I don't know. I would have thought that this part would have been pressed down just because there's a lot less bulk on the downside, but I don't know. Let's just squish it. This will all relax once once we take the papers out. But look, it looks so good. That totally matches. Oh my gosh, it is looking too awesome. I love it. Love it. Foundation paper piecing is just totally magic. Everything just matches up. It's just too cool. So, all right, this is where we're gonna just nest our seams together. So I can, one seam allowance is going this way, and then one is going this way. And those are really the only seams that need to match up, it looks like. So I'm gonna just butt that up. Oop, gosh, right here though. I was going right here, but it's the second seam here. I'm gonna just butt that up and put a clip in there, and we're gonna just see how well we do just with the nested seams instead of lining up our whole pin situation. Although maybe that's a bad idea. We'll see soon enough, I guess. All right, this one, button those up together as well. And it is thick here for sure. All right, and here again, we got a lot of stuff happening in the middle here. Ugh. I'm gonna throw a pin in there too. Gosh, I'm just kind of stretching it a little bit to flatten it, and let's throw a clip. It's totally magical, Susan. All right, there, I kind of divided the bulk on either side of that, so let's see if that helped. But I'm gonna just sew down my outline here again. Make sure my edges are together. Ooh, this is gonna be the trickster piece, but all right, I think we're good. Oh, and here's my stiletto. Just sitting right there. That'll help me kind of put things in place. Yeah, I'm trying to stretch it a little bit, Susan, but it's tough because I still have the papers in. So yeah, again, maybe it would have been a little smarter to take the papers out at this point, but I don't know. We're going with it. I like having the line to sew along. All right, here's our first big, giant, bulky bit. Okay, made it through there. Next up. All right. Here's our next bit that we have to match up. Okay, and then to the end. Hooey! All right, let's see how we did. Oop, up. Snip those threads. All right, let's peek. I'm gonna head over here. Okay. Ah, that's looking perfect. So this is that point that we wanted to match up. That looks fabulous. Let's see what this one did. Ooh, a teeny tiny hair off there, but I think overall you're not gonna notice that at all. But I think we're looking awesome. Look at it. Okay, so this one we go inward too. I'm just gonna kind of finger press that first. Ah, we did it. All right, let's press and see where we go from here. So again, we're gonna press inward. So I just kind of, let's squish it flat. So at this point, I would take the papers out. So I'll kind of show you how I go about doing that. Let's just check the instructions quick to make sure that that is okay. But I think we have reached that point. Squish, there's so much thickness here. All right, and again, once we take the papers out, we'll press it again. But yeah, it's coming together. Love it. All right, so next up is, after we take the papers out, it's gonna be all that applique. But here, let's take a look. Yeah, so we'll be putting in, you know, we have this little circle here, and then we have 3 circles here with embroidery. So that will be coming up next. So I'm happy. I mean, like at this point, I wouldn't mind moving on to another block for a little, but I think I would like to, when I get back here on Tuesday, I think we'll probably just keep going with these applique circles. We'll do some little bits of some different ways to do circles. Oh, but I wanted to read, if we take the, use a water-soluble marker. Okay, join the sections as shown and press. Use a water-soluble marker to draw guidelines on the F and H pieces for the applique. Oh, to indicate, okay, make templates from plastic. Okay, cut off the classic. Okay, it doesn't really say when. Maybe it did say, start, sew the sections of the line. No, I don't think it said anywhere on here when to tear the paper out. Yeah, but there was a good tidbit. Remember, this does have some guides on of placement of things. So I think that's kind of important. So I am going to put, let's see if I can just see through with the light. So yeah, I can kind of see through. All right, right there. So this is the center point for the pendulum. And let's mark that center point. I don't know if I can see that through. Oh, but you know what? That's what pins are for. Let's just do this. Throw a pin in there. There we go. So there's our center point. So I'm just gonna trace my pin with my marker. So that's all I kind of really need to know is the center points. Yeah, I think that's all I need to know. I'm tempted to mark some of the outsides of this too. But you know, I think all I really need to know is that center, because everything gets lined up with the center. So I think we're good. There's markings on all 3 applique pieces for the center. So that's a little unexpected because it looks further down on here, but I'm sure once we have all the pieces together, it'll look like it's just in the right spot. But so I marked, oh, you know what? Oh, that's what's wrong. Look, you guys, I sewed my F in the wrong direction here. Look, that one's upside down. I didn't even look beforehand. So I have no idea what the center for that is. So I'm going to just mark an X through there as a reminder. This is all going to be covered up, so I'm not too worried about it. But, okay, so that's something to watch out for, you guys. I put the F on. I rotated it the wrong way, because this is that one that was just a rectangle. And I didn't even think to look at it. But, yeah, make sure you rotate that so it's upwards like all the rest of these. So your center mark is in the right spot, because it should be up here. So we're going to just guess, I suppose. So that one doesn't matter anymore, but this one should be right down there. That one will be right at least. But yeah, double check that before you do what I did here. All right, anyway, other than that, we're okay. So we can take out the paper pieces at this point before we do the applique. Yeah, 80% exactly, Irene. So a way that I like to start is I just kind of pull on the corners, and that will sometimes release a bunch of the papers. Yeah, see right there. Oh, that guy came out right away. We're going to tear some of these out yet tonight. I know we're kind of a little past our time, but I want to show you guys how perfect the seam allowances ended up being. You know, this whole time we've been cutting out the blobs and everything, and but look, even though with the blobs, our seam allowances are totally perfect under here. I'm going to get my stiletto to help me out here a little bit. Oh, there we go. Here's a nice good piece. So you want to go slow at this. You don't want to just be yanking on things. Go slow along each line. Here's where I had some glue. I should wet that to get the glue off. You know, use a stiletto to help you a little bit, or a little pin, or tweezers even are helpful. But you want to go slow. So I'm not going to take out all of the pieces here. I'll do that before we start appliquing though. But yeah, each little area, just take your time. You don't want to loosen up the stitches too much. There, sometimes they just come out real easy. So every little stitch that you made is a little perforation. So that will just start to tear off. But there we go. It's starting to see those seam allowances. That's what I love too. That's another little magic trick of this, of paper piecing. Even though you've cut out those blobs, you still end up with the perfect seam allowances. Get that little paper in there. There we go. But yeah, let's get this A piece. So here I'm stretching just this A piece, kind of diagonal. Just give it a little pull. There we go. Oh God, that was a crookedly sewn line, but it came together. Oh, your turkey lacers are bending for your stilettos. Well, luckily, those turkey lacers, you can get a bunch of them all at once, so you can make a bunch of stilettos. I thought every once in a while on eBay, I'll see like an antique stiletto, and I always want them, but I'm like, I don't need one. But they're fun. All those antique sewing supplies I just love. Here's where the mess starts. This is a pretty messy deal. All this paper piecing. And again, you think you're done, but you still got this part of the job. So just be patient and work your way through it. But here we go. Look at all those seam allowances. Every single one of them is a perfect 1/4 inch. Pretty magic. Love it. So, all right, you guys, I'm going to keep going on this, and then I'll give it a good press when I'm done. But that is the foundation paper piecing of this part of the block. So I'm stoked. That was a big. This is a lot. This is a pretty hefty paper piecing one, but I think we did a pretty good job, except for that F piece that I flipped. But oh well. All right, you guys, I'm going to flip you around, and we'll call it an evening here. All right, so I think we did pretty good, dang good on this tonight. Here we are, totally looking like the frame of a grandfather clock, I think. Once we get the face on there, I think that's gonna, and the little pendulum, it's gonna look super cool, I think. So I'm gonna continue to tear out the little papers. I'll just get that done quick tonight here. And again, I will not be here tomorrow, Friday. Tomorrow, which is Friday, or Monday most likely. So I'll try and do a little video from my parents' house. I'll show you how my mom's getting along with the Splendid Sampler 2 quilt. She is much farther than me. She's also doing the quilt as you go technique. So she has actual finished parts of the quilt done on it. So that I'm really excited to see how far she got on that. So I'll show you that sometime this weekend in the Penguin and Fish Crafters group. So be sure to join that if you aren't there already. And I'll get this video up on Penguin and Fish Movies on YouTube if you wanted to take a look again at how we pieced those sections together. So thanks, you guys. I'm going to miss you over the weekend here. But yeah, I'll see you sometime soon, hopefully. So have a great evening and have a great weekend. Good night.